Welcome back, everyone. Every now and then someone will ask me what my favourite movie is, and I'm really hard pressed to give them an answer. I genuinely don't know. If I had to pick a sci-fi film, it might be something along the lines of Blade Runner, or, I don't know, Aliens. If I had to pick an action movie, maybe something along the lines of Fury Road, or the Raid franchise. If I had to pick my favourite superhero movie, it'd probably be something like The Crow, or Winter Soldier. If I had to pick the best of the absolute top tier films of all time, however, that would be a lot harder. But I would be hard pressed not to bring up today's film review. One of my very favourite movies of all time, The Handmaiden. Oh, The Handmaiden, my friends often claim. I've seen that. That's my favourite series. Blessed be the fruit under his eye. No, that's The Handmaid's Tale. That's a novel by Margaret Atwood. That's the series that a lot of people watched, discussed, and then forgot about between seasons. The Korean film, The Handmaiden, is something very, very different. And in many ways, much, much more. Now, when we talk about Korean cinema, it's almost impossible not to bring up the success that was Parasite, a movie that was incredibly successful. It's a movie that people not only liked, it went on to win a shit ton of Oscars and become one of the most celebrated foreign films of all time. Only it wasn't really that shocking a surprise. It's an incredibly well-made movie that deserves the praise that it received. What is shocking is that it took this long for Korean film to actually catch on in mainstream Western zeitgeist to begin with. Bong Joon-ho, the director of Parasite, Sang Ho-yeon, the director of Train to Busan, they have both reached incredible acclaim over the last few years, but perhaps my favourite Korean director, the director of the Furious and the Sublime Vengeance trilogy, the director of Stoker, the director who doesn't so much deserve your attention as demands it, is Park Chan-wook. And The Handmaiden might very well be the best film he has ever directed. The Handmaiden, starring the exquisitely beautiful, almost porcelain-like Min-hee and the otherworldly, sly Kim Tae-ri, is a 2016 film that defies classification. It's a moody thriller, it's a genuinely funny comedy, it's a potboiler suspense, it's a perverse melodrama, it's a surprisingly snappy period piece. And while all of that on paper sounds like a bit of a mess, it interweaves it like a master assembling a perfect puzzle box. Park Chan-wook is directing Sarah Warder's novel Fingersmith, yet relocating the setting to the lush, perpetually reigning 1930s Japan-occupied Korea. And that's where we're introduced to our hero, Tamako, who's leaving behind her rural countryside family to go work as a handmaiden for the rich, wealthy estate of an old book collector, as well as Mistress Hideko, the daughter of his late wife's sister, who stands to inherit her mother's fortune. From there, we soon meet the Count, a Japanese nobleman who has come to court the mistress's hand in marriage. And with that, the characters are introduced, the table is set, and the main course of fun and games is about to begin. Now, if this type of setup sounds really stuffy and lacking in any real intrigue or incitement, you should know that this is the type of film where the devil is in the details, and there is a Guillermo del Toro-like obsession with setting and design. The more you pay attention earlier on, the greater the payoff is when the tables are turned, and what you thought you knew is reversed, and the wickedly delicious twists and turns reveal themselves. And then it happens again, and again. And while the plot continually reveals deeper layers and hidden motives, it never feels like it's too smart for its own good. It skates a knife edge with the precision of a surgeon. Scenes are played and replayed and revisited in ways that provide new information and recontextualize things we thought we already knew. It's completely brilliant in its Rashomon-esque fashion. And this is where I straight up stop talking about the plot. Spoilers are the devil's plaything, and this is the type of movie where it deserves to be experienced, not just spoiled for the sake of a review. What I can talk about, however, is the cinematography. The Handmaiden is beautiful. It is striking, almost achingly beautiful. While a movie like Parasite was very cold and uninviting, intentionally so, The Handmaiden is warm. It's lush. It's a visual spectacle where every frame of the film could be hung on the wall of a museum. It is an absolute masterclass in filmmaking. One of my favourite scenes in the movie, without spoiling too much, has the orchestral score, which is also quite incredible, begin to swell as the camera swirls and twirls through overhead tracking shots, and as it reaches its crescendo, it was almost impossibly hauntingly beautiful. And this is just one scene of many. Now, while The Handmaiden finds humour in some pretty dark situations, and make no mistake, the movie is pretty fucking funny at times, it's almost impossible to discuss the film without mention of the rather explicit sex scenes within the movie. Make no mistake, The Handmaiden is an incredibly titillating and, to put it bluntly, quite kinky erotic thriller. I mean, all you have to do is look at this suggestive scene, where Tamako files down the sharp edge of Lady Hideko's tooth with a fine thimble. Needless to say, this is not the type of movie you really want to be watching while the children are up. The Handmaiden is a meticulous masterclass in filmmaking from one of the genre greats, an auteur who deserves to be mentioned alongside some of the greatest filmmakers of our generation. Park Chan-wook has created a deviously deceptive, kinky, kooky, erotic, and visually absorbingly beautiful film. There is so much here I actually want to tell you about that I just can't. I want this movie to surprise you, to delight you. I want it to enthrall you with its twists and turns that feel rewarding for those that want to piece together the puzzle. It's an astounding tour de force of cinematography and score working harmoniously with profound and profoundly devilish acting. Handmaiden is, without a doubt, worthy of an A+. Just don't watch it with your parents. The Handmaiden is available to watch right now on Netflix, and I highly recommend you go check it out, especially if you enjoyed movies like Parasite and Train to Busan. It's an incredible film. I promise you'll find something to like about it. Thank you for letting me indulge myself with this week's review. Stay tuned in the coming weeks for more. Later days.